Well, John, certainly a game of two halves. We'll talk about the performance in a second, but the result, you must be really pleased with that.
I'm absolutely delighted with the result. To come away here with 3 points is a difficult thing to do. I think Barnsley have won 4 games on the bounce. They haven't conceded in those 4 games. They've beaten a side here 7-0, a side who were right up there as well. So, yeah, they're a really, really good team. And to come away here with 3 points, like I say, not talking about the performance, considering the sort of tough week we've had as well, and a few of the issues that we've had over the past couple of days, really, really thrilled.
It was an unbelievable start. 3 goals in 8 minutes, 2 of them in the same minute. What sparked it?
We've been focusing on and starting a bit better than we have been over the past 7 games, and there's nothing particular we've done other than just make sure that we've got a lot of energy, make sure we press high, and everything sort of came together, I think. So a lot of the things that we've been working on really came together, and the boys were just very, very positive in everything they did. A lot of it came from the way that we pressed and the way that we were aggressive, and yeah, it was nice to see them put the ball in the back of the net. The only criticism I had, and this sounds really, really picky, was the fact that we didn't go in 4 or 5-0 up at half time, because I think that just really eases the nerves. Even coming out and having that chance, I think at 3-1 just changes the nature of the game. So it's hard to really pinpoint what we did well, but whatever we did, we've got to make sure we keep doing that.
On to the second half, not the performance you would have wanted. What were we lacking?
So I think there were a few things. There's a culmination of issues or points. Barnsley made the tactical switch. They changed their shape very slightly. They brought 3 players on, and putting 2 up top gave us certainly a different dynamic. I thought Devante Cole came and pinned Joe Rafferty a lot of the time, so we couldn't get out to the wing back. And one of the strange things, it's a great sort of learning curve for everybody, for our coaching staff, for the players, is that we have these 2 days to spend as many hours as we possibly can thinking about how we're going to set up for Barnsley, which we did, and you probably saw the fruits of that labour in the first half, and then everything changes at half time, and we've got to adapt a bit better. We need players to adapt a bit better. That was the first bit. I'll take all of that on board. The second part of it, I thought, was the fact that we started to do things I didn't see in the first half. So we gave the ball away sloppily. Players that hadn't given the ball away once in the first half suddenly were dispossessed. I think the first goal came from us being dispossessed, and then the issue there, I've sort of got no problem with. I want players to play. I want them to be brave. If they give the ball away, they give the ball away. The second part of it, I was slightly disappointed with how I thought we started to lose runners. We weren't tracking quite as well. Players were getting skipped past, and that caused us problems. It put a lot of pressure on the way we defended. There were some longer balls going up to Colby, 3 players challenging for it, and the ball dropping down and then breaking naturally. So those are the real areas we can improve upon. And then I think the other thing, it's no excuse. I don't like to ever make excuses, so it's quite nice to be able to come here and explain part of that second half performance when we've won the game. Is the fact that we have done the Derby chip on Friday. Saturday was a massive sort of emotional and physical toll that it took on the lads, and then we've come up here, long trip yesterday. Those things really do come into it. We also had through the side Joe Rafferty coming back, who hasn't played in a number of weeks. Paddy Lane doing his first back-to-back league starts for a long time, I think probably since May. Colby, as we all know, coming off the back of the virus. I think Gavin White, it must be the first time he started 8 league games in a row for a long time now. All of these things we know we have to improve upon, but that's just to give a bit of context. It is nice to come out and be able to explain those things away, because I think when you don't win games, it sounds like excuses, but certainly there were loads we need to do better. Some things out of our hands, but we'll keep going forward. I think we'll be in a lot better shape as we go through the season.
So obviously didn't see it out in the way you would have wanted, but saw it out we did. What does that say about the character and the mentality of the troop, leaving Oakwell with 3 points, not just the 1 point?
I mean, that was a tough second half, and when the second goal went in, there was plenty of time to go. We made a couple of substitutions at that point, and I think then we sort of had probably one of the youngest sides that we've put out in a league game at that point, with Sparksy, Abu, Tino, Terry, occupying sort of 4 of those positions. And to be honest, I thought after the second goal went in, although Barnsley had the majority of possession and enjoyed some good opportunities, they didn't create a huge amount of chances, and that was really, really pleasing. So I did feel relatively calm towards the back end of the game, not quite as calm as I had in the first half, but we saw the game out brilliantly. You can't go and blow teams away and play like we did in the first 45 all the time. We'd love to, but it's just not going to happen. We knew we were going to get a reaction out of Barnsley, so to see the game out in the way we did, absolutely thrilled.
And just looking at the result, you've obviously said multiple times this season about coming away to places like this and grinding out results and getting wins. So how nice is it to be going back to Portsmouth with all 3 points?
Oh, it's amazing. It's the first, it's the most important thing. And if you'd have offered me 4 points from these 2 games, I would have snapped your hand off. If you'd offered me the performance of the weekend, the performance in the first half, I would have been absolutely delighted with that. So I'm thrilled with what we've done. That was a really tough period for us to get through. Sometimes that's the way the fixtures fall, and there's a real challenge. That's a challenge for the lads. That's what you've got to deal with in a league season. I think the EFL is like nothing else in terms of the demands, and I've been through it many times. You dust yourself off from one game, and you go again, and you go again, and you go again. And the fans that travelled tonight and travelled on Saturday, they'll know that more than anything else, because I'm sure as soon as they thought they were back in Portsmouth having a rest, they were back on the road again to Barnsley. So we all feel it together, which is great. But yeah, really happy with it.
What did you say to the lads after, and what I can imagine is quite an upbeat dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as upbeat as you would imagine, just coming off the back of that second half. But once things calm down, and we have to take a bit of perspective on it, then we'll realise that we're in a very good spot. So I said to them, let's get the positives done. Away win, 4 points off these 2 games. Blistering performance in the first half, and then plenty to improve upon, which is great. And all the players knew that. Sometimes you speak to players and you see sort of vacant stares looking back at you, thinking, what the hell are you talking about? I just looked at players in there that knew it. They're an unbelievably good group, and they know that they can do better than that. They absolutely know it, and there's stuff that we improve upon as coaches, they improve upon as players, and that's the key, I think, to make sure that you've never cracked it. You keep working and going again. But yeah, once the dust settles, as soon as we're on the coach, I think we will just in a very professional and calm way just make sure we enjoy it. I really want us to enjoy the good moments this year, and that was one of the best ones.
You mentioned them slightly there. 654 Pompey fans braving the Yorkshire weather tonight. What's your message to them as they head back to Portsmouth tonight?
How many was it?
654.
So yeah, not my predictions were wild, but I mean, unbelievable. I think we came here last year on a Tuesday night and we got battered, and I thought the fans that night rightly were sort of angry at the performance and the way that we played, and we've come a long way since then. So yeah, thrilled for them. That makes the long trip back. They'll get back in the early hours of tomorrow morning, and that's a tough one. That's a really tough one as a fan. Again, it's difficult, I think, is that those 2 games are for a team travelling, even more difficult for the fans. At least we get a coach and a coach driver, so fair play to them all, and stuck with us, and I could hear them I would describe them as tough moments in the second half. We could hear them. They got the team through it. Absolutely brilliant.